Bonjour les Françaisois, bienvenue aux notes aujourd'hui et voici le film Bon voyage, les personnages du film. Je voudrais poser la question, au futur, qu'est-ce qui se passera avec ces personnes? Et notez ici le verbe se passera. Au futur, in the future, what will happen with all of these characters? À mon opinion, à mon avis, Viviane continuera à faire des films. Elle habitera à Paris avec un chien. I think Viviane will continue to make films, but she will live in Paris with a small dog. Ministre Beaufort sera dans le gouvernement de De Gaulle. I think Ministre Beaufort will end up in Charles de Gaulle's government during the war. Frédéric et Camille se marieront. Ils travailleront pour le gouvernement comme espions. I think Frédéric and Camille might just get married. They'll work for the government as spies. Et Camille perdra le livre de Frédéric dans l'océan. Encore. Zut. Camille will lose Frédéric's book in the ocean. Again. Zut. Aujourd'hui, nous avons discuté les trois possibilités j'aurai, j'habiterai et je voyagerai. I will have, I will live, and I will travel. We talked about those a little bit aujourd'hui to warm up, and we talked about how those structures will work in the future. Maintenant, time to figure out how to structure them in writing. Ça, c'est la structure de futur, so you should have your structural notes page in front of you. Clearly, this is français toi, but je suis désolée, ce n'est pas 2013-2014, c'est 2014-2015, désolé. Comment ça se fait? Voici la structure de futur. Regardons un exemple. Raoul aidera Camille et le professeur à cacher l'eau lourde. We know that if we're thinking about the story, Raoul will help Camille and the professeur to hide the heavy water. If we use the verb aider, to help, ici, the first rule of conjugating verbs for the future is to use the infinitif, which is the verb with no changes made to it, no manipulations of that ER or any of the other letters, and you use that as your stem. That becomes what you use for je, tu, il, elle, nous, vous, il, elle. Job 2, pretty familier. All you do is add appropriate endings to the end of that verb. So you leave this whole verb alone, ici, aider, and to that you add for je, ai, for tu, as, for il or elle, a, for nous, ons, pour vous, ez, and for il or elle, ont. Many of those endings are pretty similar, okay? So it will be aiderai, aidera, aidera. Aideront, aiderai, aideront. Even the endings sound a lot the same. Et, a, on. En règle extra. There's one extra rule to conjugating these. So for verbs that end in re, like lire or prendre, etc., you must drop the final e before you make your stem, because that will just get in the way. So your stem for re verbs becomes the verb minus its e. Fini! Les verbes, super, facile. That's all you have to do. Infinitif, add endings, instant future. Voici les exemples. Je regarderai le film avec mes amis. I'll watch the movie with my friends. Nous discuterons nos opinions du film. We will talk about our opinions of the movie. Vous voyagerez par train en France. You will travel by train in France. And if you're looking at how this is pronounced, check it out. Attendrai, achèteront, arrivera, et composterai. Those are four new verbs that you have. Some of them you've seen before, especially acheter and arriver. Composter is a verb that you do at the train station. But these are all quatre exemples of ones that you would hear when you are traveling. Attendrai, achèteront, arrivera, composterai. It's really just an extra syllable more than you're used to. Voici quelques possibilités pour pratiquer. Je parlerai à mon prof. Tu étudieras. Marc lira. Et nous préparerons les devoirs. I will talk to my teacher. You will study. Mark will read. And we will all make sure our homework is ready. My goodness, we're studious, aren't we? Whoa, attention, les irréguliers. You know it couldn't have been that easy, right? There's irrégulier in every conjugation tense. So in futur, in passé composé, in présent even, any tense you do, there are going to be some quirky ones. The four quirky ones we'll work with aujourd'hui are avoir and être, first of all. Avoir and être don't function like normal verbs in the futur. You cannot simply take avoir and add endings to it. Avoir won't work that way. Instead, it sends a representatif, kind of like an ambassador, to be its stem. So instead of avoir, we use or. And you do the conjugations as so. J'aurai, tu auras, il aura. Nous aurons, vous aurez, ils auront. Être is much the same way. It's very difficile, and it decided that it didn't want to show up in the future, so it's sending someone else in its place. Être's future representative is ser. Really weird. Just going to have to memorize. Désolé. Je serai, tu seras, il sera. Nous serons, vous serez, et ils seront. Notice that with both verb ici, the endings stay the same. You're just replacing the infinitif with a stem. You will have to do the same thing with aller, who won't show up in the future. So will go is represented by the stem ir. So j'irai, tu iras, il ira, excusez-moi. Nous irons, vous irez, and ils iront. And then you have faire, which is represented by faire, not super différent. So je ferai, tu feras, il fera, nous ferons, vous ferez, et ils feront. Ça va? Merci. Maintenant, c'est à vous de pratiquer. À bientôt.